Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Weirdly Cosmic podcast. I am Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl, and Mercury is going into Aquarius. All things mind, communication, ideas are going to get very airy. Mercury loves being in air signs, and Mercury in Aquarius is very progressive, very observant, very unconventional. And also Mercury is moving really fast now. So this is going to be a speedy, mind mapping, curious time of new ideas and innovation. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this journey. Mercury moves into Aquarius on February the 11th, only until March the 2nd. So it's a fast transit, and things are going to move really fast. I'm going to talk about the major aspects as well, and then I'm going to go through all signs. But before I dive in, I do just want to mention my sponsor for Sigmatic, my coffee. This mushroom coffee is amazing, honestly. It contains medicinal, if you like, mushrooms, functional, what do they call it? Nutrient dense ingredients. And what I find when I drink this coffee over regular coffee, I kind of get that coffee alertness without the kind of the over buzz. It's really helping my, what I think I've got ADHD. It helps me focus better. I worked in a health food store for a while, and I learned about the magic of these mushrooms, such as reishi, that are contained within the coffee. For Sigmatic also do some other products like proteins and various things that you can mix in. And with my code that's in the description, you actually get 30% off the first order. The code is Cosmic. So check it out and give this coffee a try if you love coffee. If you don't love coffee, they do various other things, as I said. They really are helping my focus. And anyway, that's my shout out for my lovely sponsors for Sigmatic. Thank you for bringing my attention to this coffee. I can highly recommend it. So Mercury in Aquarius. As I said, Mercury in Aquarius is very progressive, very observant, very unconventional. It's really a brainy transit. You know, Aquarius have kind of like these computer brains, and Mercury, being of the mind, is very brainiac. So it's a little bit offbeat. There's going to be very inventive thoughts, sometimes eccentric, sometimes weird. There's a fine line between weird and genius, right? So, you know, it's kind of that genius transit. So in this short time, February the 11th to March the 2nd, the areas of your chart will be firing on all cylinders, if you like, with ideas that are inventive and fresh perspectives, looking at things from new angles. It's very forward looking. You might spend a lot of time thinking about the future. It's going to be a welcome relief from the long journey of Mercury through Capricorn. Mercury was in Capricorn from December the 8th, I think, or December the 6th. Anyway, early December, right through till February the 11th, because Mercury was retrograde in Capricorn. And Mercury finished his journey in Capricorn with this deep revelatory conjunction with Pluto, the last conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn before Pluto moves into Aquarius. So Mercury moving into Aquarius after this conjunction with Pluto at almost the last degree of Capricorn, to my mind, is going to bring us some innovative thinking and ways to deal with things that come up from the Mercury conjunction with Pluto. So it's a very exciting transit to me. I love Mercury in the air signs, but I think most of us do, because Mercury is very comfortable in air signs, just loves it. So as I said, Mercury will move into Aquarius on February the 11th, 6:22 a.m. Eastern time, so you can adjust for your own time. Time Buddy is great. And then I'm just going to look at some of the major aspects. I'm not going to adjust the chart for all of it, but I will for some of the big aspects. There's 2 or 3 really key moments in this transit to look out for. So Mercury, first of all, will square Haumea. Haumea is the creation goddess, the great goddess of creation for the Hawaiians. And she was one of the original kind of creatrix goddesses. She could give birth from any part of her body. And so immediately we kind of get this blast of fresh ideas of what we can birth. And remember, we're going to have a Pisces new moon, which is seeding and gestating new growth as well. We're going to have that on February the 20th. So we're really entering into a time of new beginnings and future thinking and planning. So there's a few other aspects. Follow my daily posts on social media for the nitty gritty, the granular posts, or become a member where I get even more granular in my Venus enchantment community. But the first and the biggest aspect really that I want to look at is that Mercury on February the 16th is going to square the nodes. Okay, so Mercury squares the nodes twice every Mercury cycle around the chart. And this one is at 6 degrees Aquarius and coming towards the North Node at 6 Taurus. Now, this is on the South Node of the USA. 6 Aquarius is the South Node of the USA. And you can feel that the USA is kind of at some major turning point as we move into the new paradigm. I think, and a square to the nodes is always a crossroads, always a turning point, always a pivot point. And I think something is going to be come to light, some new information around February the 16th that is going to turn the tide. But at a personal level, if you have anything around 6 degrees of the fixed signs, that would be me. That's a real red letter day for you, for some innovative ideas that will move you forward. Okay, so that's the first day to pay attention to. Then on February the 20th and February the 21st and the 22nd. I'm just going to get. Oh, help if I put the right planet in. Sorry about that. February the 21st and 22nd. I'm just going to leave this where it is. I'm not going to move to the 22nd, but Mercury's going to get to the world point. 15 degrees of the fixed signs is a world point. So another big turning point. And Mercury is going to square Uranus, who is still at 15 degrees. He's been there for a while since he stationed direct at 14 degrees and 56 minutes. It's been highlighted over and over on the big Leo full moon that was square Uranus at 15 degrees. And so this is likely to be a radical turning point. Also, you know, if you think about it, Uranus is kind of the higher mind and Mercury is our mind that's in here. So you can imagine some big ahas, some big light bulb moments on that day that are going to pivot and turn the tide of events again. But add to that, right after Mercury squares Uranus, Mercury is going to make a trine to Mars in Gemini. And Mars in Gemini has been there forever. He moved in there in October 2022 and turned retrograde on October the 30th. And these are 2 air signs, and Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. So we have this February the 16th is a really big turning day. And February the 21st and the 22nd, I would get your notes, your voice recorders, your pens and papers ready, because the ideas are going to be coming thick and fast. And there may be news of some new innovations and new inventions as well on that day. Mars is also still out of bounds, so he's acting eccentrically, more Marsy than Mars can be. So, you know, that that 21st to the 22nd of February is a huge day, or 2 days. So we've got, well, again, we've got February the 16th, February the 21st and 22nd. And then Mercury finishes his journey in the sign of Aquarius with a conjunction with Saturn, right at the anaretic threshold, liminal degree of Aquarius. And that's like some clarity, some hard lessons, some reality checks, some news before we move into Pisces. This is kind of like, okay, what have we learned from this journey going forward? Now we get, oh, this is real and in the face. There may be some blocks in that, some of the big ideas that have come from the journey of Mercury through Aquarius. You may go, no, that's not grounded in reality. This is too far out there. It's just not doable, because Saturn is really about clarity and reality and just hard work and determination and diligence. But this is at that liminal degree, as I said, so we can feel the change coming. So we kind of have this period leading up to that very last day of Mercury being in Aquarius, going with all these ideas flowing, future plans, mind mapping, ideas, aha moments, new invention, it's kind of thinking outside the box in very big ways, ending with a big reality check saying, all right, what can I really carry forward? Okay. And what can I really carry forward into the future? Okay. So it's quite the time, to be quite honest. So enjoy. All right, so I'm going to quickly go through all signs. I don't want to make this video too long because Mercury in Aquarius is speedy, so let's do a speedy video. So Mercury in Aquarius, for Aquarius rising. Now, if you don't know your rising sign, I would highly suggest going to astro.com or astro-seek.com. You can create your own natal chart in those sites for free. And the sign that is on the horizon, this is the eastern horizon. I'm pointing at it over here. You can see Mercury's on it here. This is Mercury, the symbol is your rising sign. You'll need your date, time, and place of birth to create your chart. If you don't know your time of birth, listen to your sun sign, because it will still have some relevance. But we are really now just going to, this speaks most to rising signs. Okay, so we're going to start with Aquarius rising. This is all about you. This is the face that you're putting out on the world. You are already seen as one of the most interesting, weird, unique characters of the zodiac. Well, you're just going to get more so, and people are going to see you putting forth these innovative ideas and progressive ideas. You're going to show up as much more progressive, and you're going to have some real innovative thoughts about how you present yourself to the world one-on-one. This is the face that you're put on the world. So what a nice place for you, Aquarius rising. Enjoy having Mercury in Aquarius. Pisces. So for you, Pisces, this will be in your 12th house, this journey. So this is really a great time to take up my favorite practice, which is morning pages, which is three pages of longhand stream of consciousness writing, done first thing in the morning. Has to be longhand. Get yourself a nice pen, get yourself a really pretty journal, and just let these downloads flow and flow, and let you dump the ideas or channel them. You know, this is the energy of channeling. But this is Mercury, so let the words flow, let the ideas flow. If meditation works for you, that's another one, or shamanic journeying. But morning pages, which is from the Artist's Way book by Julia Cameron. By the way, it's one of her basic tools. is just of this energy for you, Pisces rising, because this is kind of like messages from source spirit, whatever it is for you. Aries rising, this for you is about groups of friends, causes, social causes, could even be political causes. If you're an entrepreneur, it could also be like your big message to the world, or getting out there on the internet. But this has an energy of really expressing these unique ideas and coming up with some innovative plans for anything that you have a cause for, and communicating them. So it's just an exciting transit. Oh. Taurus, for you, Taurus, this is all about your career, your visibility, your public space. You're probably already quite an innovator publicly, Taurus rising. Even though, you know, Taurus rising can be a little bit fixed and stodgy, but you've got this view that the public see you as this real innovator and coming up. And during this short transit, you're going to come up with some very innovative ideas and present them publicly, I think. Yeah. Gemini rising, another air sign. And for you, this is in your 9th house. This is higher philosophy. You may be kind of coming up with some new philosophical concepts and things with this, and some new ideas about your belief. It's also got a liberatory feel. So if you've been brought up in some kind of religious tradition or organization, then you may begin to really question the ideas and come up with some very progressive views about that belief system. It also involves other cultures, so you may be learning about very unique cultures during this time. Lovely place for you as well, Gemini rising. Your Mercury is your ruling planet, so you're going to really enjoy this in the 9th house. Cancer, for you, this is in the house of shared resources and intimacy in the deep psyche. For this, you may be you may be getting some innovative investment ideas for one, or some real ideas about how you can distribute your wealth or share your wealth, your abundance. But it also may come up with some real kind of ahas about your inner self, your deepest psyche. You maybe get some awarenesses come from way deep within that you had no idea were there before. You may see yourself, your inner self, in a very new way after this transit. So, especially bearing in mind the fact that it's such a turning point. Leo rising. For you, Leo rising, this is involving all your significant relationships. It's also marketing if you're an entrepreneur, but this will be seeing others in a unique light or presenting yourself to others. But, you know, there's an air of, in the 7th house, there's real air of kind of the self that you do not like. So you may be reflected from others. You may see yourself in a different and unique and innovative light. You know, Leo can be very kind of like, this is me, love it or leave it. And suddenly with all this energy in Aquarius, especially with the transits I talked about, you may be seeing yourself and your relationships in a very new way, and maybe moving into more progressive kind of relationships that have a unique flavor. Okay, so before I dive into the last 6 signs, I just want to give one more shout out for Sigmatic, my sponsor. Don't forget that you get 30% off your first order. And by the way, it's refundable if you don't like it. Get your money back if you do not like this coffee. And if you do like it, get yourself a subscription using my discount. Okay, Virgo. For Virgo, this for you is in the area of health and pets and daily routines and service. So you may strike up or get ideas for looking after your health in a very different way. You may decide to shake up and your daily routines to be very progressive and innovative, or come up with some ideas about how you can serve others and be useful in a very progressive way. So that's the area of your life. And again, everybody, please remember the transits. Remember that we've got these big sparky transits, especially around February the 16th, the 21st and 22nd, and ending with real clarity. So Libra rising, another air sign. You like this because Mercury is in an air sign. And so this is in the 5th house of creative expression. You could be doing, intuitive art. You could be doing some real abstract art, but you could also be coming up with creative abstract ideas for what brings you joy and what brings you fun. This is so creative and innovative and inventive, so just let it fly. It could be a good time to go and maybe do an abstract art class or something like that, so that you can get this abstraction out onto paper. Okay, for Scorpio rising, this for you is in the home. You may decide, get some ideas for really shaking up your home life. And, this could be the time you could go and paint your house or a room in your house, sort of like all very Aquarian colors, very turquoisey and all that kind of bright, flashy kind of colors. But, even if you throw a few throw cushions in just to really kind of brighten it up. But also, the 4th house is really your inner home as well. So you go and get some real sparky ideas from within, okay, that are kind of going to change how you feel about your basis of security and your just protection and safety in the home. So sparky. So Sagittarius rising, this is in the 3rd house, and this is the 3rd house of the voice, communication. It's Mercury ruled house. This would be a great time for just like, again, go back to that morning pages thing, but to get those ideas on paper. It's a great time for mind mapping, great time for planning, and just the ideas will just be sparking and flowing for you, Sagittarius rising. Amazing. Capricorn rising, last sign. This for you is in your 2nd house, which is self-esteem, self-worth. It's also how you earn your money. You may be thinking of innovative plans or liberating yourself from a drudgy job and pursuing interests that are far more interesting. At least you may be planning and getting ideas for that, or innovative ways to bring in more income. That's highly possible for you too. So it's an exciting transit. It's going to be thoroughly enjoyable. I hope that you will just dive into it and make a note of those days. February the 16th, Mercury square the nodes, a real turning point. And February the 21st and 22nd are when the ideas are just going to be bursting out your head. So for now, until next time, I'm Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology. See you next time.